sprinkle of dreams. The bell above the door of sugar heaven chimed, a sweet, melodic sound that sent a shiver of excitement down Lily's spine. Today was the day. Her apron, crisp and white, felt brand new against her skin. Behind the counter, Mrs. Higgins, a woman whose smile could melt glacier, beamed. "Lily, dear. Right on time. Come, let me show you the ropes." The air inside was thick with the aroma of spun sugar, melted chocolate, and something subtly magical. Mrs. Higgins explained the intricacies of the enchanted ingredients: moonflower petals for lucid dreams, star anise for courage, a pinch of dragon fruit dust for good luck. Lily's fingers practically vibrated with anticipation. Her first task: dream cupcakes. Following Mrs. Higgins' instructions, Lily whisked, mixed, and folded, her movements precise and practiced. She piped the batter into delicate paper cups, each a miniature canvas. As they baked, the scent intensified, filling the kitchen with a comforting, otherworldly sweetness. Once cooled, she adorned them with swirls of lavender frosting and a single, shimmering moonflower petal. They looked perfect. Later that afternoon, walking home, Lily noticed a sign wilting outside a small shop, a Daisy's Daisies. The flowers inside looked droopy, their colors muted. Lily knew Daisy, had known her since they were kids sharing mud pies and fantastical stories. Hesitantly, she pushed open the door. Daisy looked up, her face etched with worry. "Lily! What a surprise!" But her voice lacked its usual sparkle. "I just started at Sugar Heaven today," Lily announced, hoping to inject some cheer into the gloomy atmosphere. Daisy managed a weak smile. "That's wonderful, Lil. You always did have a knack for baking." Her gaze drifted back to a vase of listless lilies. "Business hasn't been so wonderful here. I don't know if I can keep the shop open much longer." Lily's heart sank. She knew how much this shop meant to Daisy. It was more than just a business. It was a passion, her dream woven into every petal and stem. "What's wrong? What's been happening?" Daisy sighed, the sound heavy with defeat. "Everything. The new supermarket down the street sells bouquets cheaper. My supplier raised their prices. And, well, my signature blue roses just won't bloom this season. They're my biggest seller, and without them..." She trailed off, picking at a browning petal. Lily surveyed the dispirited blooms, her mind already racing. Maybe there's something I can do." An idea, sparked by the magical ingredients at Sugar Heaven, began to form. It was a long shot, but she had to try. "Let me see what I can come up with. Promise me you won't give up yet, Daisy. A friend in need." Lily stared at the perfectly piped swirl on the cupcake, a kaleidoscope of sugary hues reflecting in her eyes. It was a masterpiece, edible art. But the joy had evaporated. She carefully placed it on the display, the click of the tongs echoing in the sterile kitchen of Sugar Heaven. She couldn't do this anymore, not with Daisy drowning. The aroma of vanilla and burnt sugar usually filled her with delight, but today it felt cloying, suffocating. Daisy's wilting flower shop needed her more than these pristine pastries ever could. Her heart ached with the memory of Daisy's tear-streaked face. Creativity wasn't just about perfect frosting, it was about breathing life back into something dying. Taking a deep breath, Lily marched towards Ms. Dubois' office, the rhythmic tap of her shoes against the spotless floor a frantic drumbeat. Ms. Dubois, a woman whose smile never quite reached her eyes, looked up from a spreadsheet. "Lily, my dear, another stroke of genius, I presume?" "Actually, Ms. Dubois," Lily began, her voice trembling slightly, I'm giving my 2 weeks' notice. The smile vanished. Giving your... Lily, you're one of our most talented decorators. This must be a joke. I wish it were, Lily said, handing over the letter she'd scribbled during her lunch break. A friend needs my help, and I have to be there for her. Ms. Dubois scanned the letter, her lips pursed. Sentimentality. Such a waste of potential. She sighed dramatically. Very well. But don't expect to find this position waiting for you when you're little. Friendship experiment inevitably fails. Lily squared her shoulders, ignoring the jab. Thank you for the opportunity, Ms. Dubois. Later that day, Lily burst into petal paradise, a whirlwind of nervous energy. Daisy was hunched over a ledger, the lines etched around her eyes deeper than usual. The scent of decaying lilies hung heavy in the air. Daisy! Lily exclaimed, grabbing her friend's hands. I have a plan. We're going to revamp this place. Think workshops, themed bouquets, maybe even a subscription service. We'll make Petal Paradise the talk of the town. Daisy looked at Lily, a flicker of hope igniting in her weary eyes. Lily, you quit Sugar Heaven? For me? Of course, for you. Lily grinned, pulling out a sketchbook filled with ideas. Now, let's get to work. Blooming cupcakes. Lily hummed, a smear of buttercream frosting adorning her cheek. Before her, a miniature garden of sugar bloomed. Pale pink rose petals, plucked from Daisy's prize-winning bush and meticulously washed, nestled against a swirl of vanilla bean frosting atop a lemon cupcake. She'd paired the tartness of the lemon with the rose's delicate sweetness, a gamble she hoped would pay off. What do you think? She asked, holding it out to Daisy, who was wrestling with a wilting batch of hydrangeas. Daisy glanced up, her usual furrowed brow softening. It's daring. People will either love it or hate it. She cautiously took a bite. Her eyes widened. They'll love it. It's surprising. Sophisticated. That was the word Lily was hoping for. Sophisticated was exactly what Daisy's petals needed. Next, the social media blitz. Lily, armed with her phone and a ring light, transformed the bakery into a mini-studio. Close-ups of dew-kissed daisies paired with chocolate cupcakes, pansies gracing lavender confections, and sunflowers towering over caramel delights. Each post was carefully curated, highlighting the artistry and the unexpected flavor combinations. She even created a short video of Daisy arranging a bouquet while Lily frosted cupcakes, set to upbeat, whimsical music. The first few days were quiet, a digital echo. Then, a local food blogger shared Lily's post. Boom! The following Saturday, Daisy's Petals was bursting at the seams. A line snaked out the door, buzzing with anticipation. Customers, faces lit with curiosity, pointed at the display case, exclaiming over the floral cupcake pairings. I'll take the sunflower caramel, please. Are those real rose petals? Amazing. Daisy, usually stressed and snapping, moved with a newfound energy. She even smiled. A genuine, unforced smile that reached her eyes. Lily watched, a swell of pride blooming in her chest. They were a team again, a force. But amidst the sugary frenzy, a knot of her knees tightened in Lily's stomach. She caught Meyer, the part-time employee, whispering on her phone in the back, a furtive glance in Daisy's direction. What was she up to? Lily pushed the thought aside. They were finally succeeding. She wouldn't let anything, anyone, ruin it. Not again. An offer too good to be true. The bell above the door chimed, a jaunty little sound that usually brought a smile to Daisy's face. Today, though, she was elbow-deep in thorny rose bushes, wrestling them into submission for a customer's anniversary bouquet. She wiped the sweat from her brow with the back of her hand, leaving a smudge of dirt across her forehead, and plastered on a most welcoming grin. A man stood just inside, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the earthy chaos of Daisy's petals. He radiated an expensive, almost intimidating aura. "Daisy Miller?" he asked, his voice smooth as polished mahogany. "That's me," she replied, a little breathless. "Sterling. Richard Sterling." He extended a hand, his grip firm and brief. "I've heard quite a bit about your operation here." He gestured around the shop with a dismissive wave, his eyes lingering on the chipped paint of the window frames. Daisy's smile faltered. She braced herself for a complaint about the slightly wilted lilies in the corner. Instead, Sterling said, "I believe you have a gift, Miss Miller. A real knack for this. But talent alone is rarely enough." He circled the small shop, pausing to examine a vibrant arrangement of sunflowers. "Tell me, have you ever considered expanding?" Daisy laughed, a short, disbelieving sound. "Expanding? Mr. Sterling, I'm just trying to keep the lights on." He turned back to her, his expression unreadable. "I can change that. I can provide the capital, the resources, the infrastructure to turn Daisy's petals into a chain. A nationwide brand." Daisy stared at him, speechless. He was offering her everything she'd ever dreamed of, everything she'd sacrificed her previous life for. What's the catch?" she finally managed to stammer. Sterling smiled, a flash of teeth that didn't quite reach his eyes. "No catch. Just a partnership. 50-50. I provide the business acumen, you provide the magic." That evening, Daisy practically burst through the door of Lily's apartment, her face flushed with excitement. "Lily, you won't believe this," she exclaimed, launching into the story of Sterling's visit, his offer tumbling out in a rush of words. Lily listened, her initial enthusiasm slowly fading as Daisy recounted the details. When Daisy finally paused for breath, Lily said, "A 50-50? Just like that? It sounds too good to be true, Daisy." "I know, right?" Daisy squealed, dismissing Lily's concerns. "But imagine, Lily. Daisy's petals everywhere. We could hire a whole team, have our own greenhouses. We could finally breathe." The scent of lilies filled the air, unnoticed. Fading petals. The scent of lilies, once a comfort, now felt like a subtle accusation. Daisy had always favored them, filling the shop with their heady perfume, but lately, the aroma seemed to cling only to her, a fragrant shield against Lily's increasingly frequent questions. It started subtly. Whispered phone calls, Daisy turning her back to Lily, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial murmur. "Just a quick question, Mr. Sterling," as she'd say, then drift away, disappearing into the back room with a nervous flutter of her hands. Then came the meetings. "Mr. Sterling specifically requested I handle this one, Lil," Daisy said, her eyes avoiding Lily's gaze as she grabbed her notepad and hurried out the door. "Something about streamlining the process. You know how he is." Lily didn't know. Mr. Sterling had always been perfectly amenable to working with both of them, praising their combined creativity and efficiency. Now, suddenly, she was excluded, relegated to watering the ferns and arranging the less glamorous bouquets. One afternoon, as Lily was carefully unwrapping a shipment of velvety crimson roses, Daisy returned, her face flushed, a triumphant glint in her eyes. "He loved the proposal for the Henderson wedding," as she announced, tossing her notepad onto the counter. We haven't even finalized the proposal yet, Lily pointed out, a knot of her knees tightening in her stomach. I thought we were working on that together tomorrow. Daisy busied herself straightening a display of orchids, her movements jerky and unnatural. Mr. Sterling felt it was best to move forward, as she said, her voice tight. He said my vision aligned more closely with the client's. Lily stared at her, the scent of roses now cloying and suffocating. Your vision? Since when is this your vision, Daisy? We built this business together. What's going on? Daisy finally met her gaze, but there was a coldness there Lily had never seen before. Mr. Sterling is the client, Lily. And he prefers working with me. It's just business. She turned away, disappearing into the back room again, leaving Lily alone with the fading petals and a gnawing sense of betrayal. The bitter truth. The aroma of burnt sugar hung heavy in the air. Lily coughed, waving a tea towel at the acrid smoke billowing from the oven. Daisy, predictably, was nowhere to be seen. Daisy? Lily called, her voice tight. Only silence answered. She yanked open the oven door, rescuing a tray of blackened pansies before they completely disintegrated. Another batch ruined. Frustration simmering, Lily decided to tackle the paperwork mountain Daisy had been organizing for weeks. Bills, receipts, ingredient lists, a chaotic jumble threatening to spill onto the floor. As she sorted, a stiff, official-looking envelope caught her eye. United States Patent and Trademark Office, as she read aloud. Her brow furrowed. Daisy hadn't mentioned anything about patents. Inside were documents, dense with legalese, all centered on one thing, a flower cupcakes. And, in bold print, under each applicant, was Daisy's name. Only Daisy's name. Lily's stomach lurched. A cold dread snaked through her. She scanned the document again, and again, each time the reality hitting harder. Daisy had trademarked their idea. Her idea. Without her knowledge, without her consent. The front door slammed, and Daisy breezed in, her cheeks flushed, a shopping bag swinging from her wrist. Lily! I got the most adorable edible glitter. She trailed off, noticing Lily's rigid posture and the papers clutched in her hand. What's that? Lily's voice was dangerously low. Explain this, Daisy. She thrust the documents forward. Daisy's eyes flickered across the page, a practiced nonchalance settling over her features. Oh, that? Just a little something I was taking care of. You know, for the business. For the businessers? Lily repeated, her voice rising. You trademarked flower cupcakes in your name only, Daisy. This is our business. My business, too. Daisy sighed, as if Lily were being deliberately difficult. Look, Lily, someone had to do it. And frankly, I've been putting in all the real work lately. You've been distracted. Distracted? Lily's voice cracked. I've been cleaning up your messes, redoing your recipes, and keeping this whole operation afloat while you flit around buying glitter. I designed the original concept, Daisy. An idea is just an idea, Lily, Daisy said, her voice sharp. Execution is what matters. And I'm the one executing. Besides, she added with a dismissive wave of her hand, you're not exactly business savvy, are you? I'm protecting us both. The words were a slap in the face. Lily felt the blood drain from her head. Protecting us? You're cutting me out, Daisy. You're stealing from me. Daisy just shrugged, turning away, Don't be so dramatic, Lily. It's just business. Sweet surprises. The cardboard felt unnaturally dense, crammed with ghosts of aspiration. Lily nestled her cherished spatula, a grandmother's heirloom, into the box, a subtle act of defiance against the encroaching gloom. Daisy hadn't even glanced up from the register during Lily's departure. Just a clipped nod, a wordless dismissal that carried a sharper sting than any accusation screamed aloud. Back in her showbox apartment, the air carried a whisper of cinnamon laced with disappointment. Lily gazed around the diminutive kitchen, envisioning a transformation. The gaudy floral wallpaper, once ridiculed by Daisy, now pulsed with unexpected promise. With a fortifying breath, she began to reimagine the space. The time-worn wooden table became her command center, draped with a jaunty, polka-dotted cloth. A sign, painted by hand, a Lily's sweet surprises, leaned in the window, soaking in the afternoon glow. The initial days unfolded languidly. Lily baked with fervent energy, exploring flavor profiles, refining her signature lavender honey cupcake. She posted images online, fingers crossed, her pulse quickening with each notification. Then, a stroke of fortune. A local food critic, captivated by the vivid snapshots, paid a visit. She lauded the Earl Grey and bergamot cupcake, declaring it a miniature triumph. The following morning, a line stretched down the block. Mrs. Gable, the elderly woman from downstairs, held the pole position, her eyes bright with anticipation. "I've been inhaling those divine scents for days, dear. I knew you were brewing something extraordinary." Following her was a young couple, hands clasped, lured by the critic's rave. A frazzled businessman, craving an immediate sugar fix, trailed behind. Lily, dusted with flour, positively radiated. The once small space throbbed with life, a symphony of voices mingling with the intoxicating aroma of baking. Each cupcake she passed over was a quiet rebellion, a tangible symbol of her spirit. This wasn't Daisy's petals, but something innovative, a creation born entirely of her own hands. It was Lily's sweet surprises, and it was only getting started. Yet, observing the happy multitude, she couldn't suppress the nagging question: was Daisy watching? And if so, what thoughts churned behind her eyes? A change of heart. The bakery air, usually thick with manufactured sweetness, felt different today. Subdued. Mr. Sterling, a man whose palate held the key to culinary empires, hadn't said a word since popping Lily's salted caramel cupcake into his mouth. He closed his eyes, a faint smile playing on his lips. When he opened them, his gaze locked onto Daisy. "Extraordinary," he declared, his voice a low rumble. "Truly extraordinary. The balance, the texture, the vision." He then shifted his focus directly to Daisy. "You, Miss Harding, have a gift." Daisy preened, puffing out her chest as if she'd personally wrung the salt from the sea and spun the caramel from moonlight. But the moment shattered. Sterling's smile vanished. "Unless," he said, turning to Lily, a glint of steel in his eye, "Miss Bloom, you'd care to enlighten me as to the inspiration behind this masterpiece?" Lily, caught off guard, stammered, Well, I experiment a lot with different flavor profiles. The salt just brings out the caramel." Sterling nodded slowly, his gaze never leaving Daisy's increasingly pallid face. "Indeed. And the lavender shortbread Miss Harding mentioned earlier? Another stroke of your unique genius, Miss Bloom?" Daisy's silence was deafening. "I believe," Sterling said, his voice now edged with ice, "I've made a grave error in judgment. Miss Harding, I regret to inform you that my offer is withdrawn. My partnership is contingent on genuine talent, not appropriation. He swept out, leaving a vacuum of stunned silence in his wake. The following weeks were a slow, agonizing unraveling. Daisy's custom cake orders trickled to a halt. Her attempts to recreate Lily's recipes were disastrous, each batch a testament to her lack of genuine skill. Reviews, once glowing, now dripped with disappointment, customers lamenting the bakery's sudden decline. Tastes like imitation, one scathing review read, of something much better. Daisy watched, helpless, as her dream crumbled around her. The once vibrant shop felt hollow, the aroma of burnt sugar clinging to the air like a bitter reminder. It was in the quiet desolation of her failing bakery, amidst unsold cookies and wilting decorations, that Daisy finally understood. It wasn't just about the recipes. It was about the heart, the passion, the dedication. Qualities she'd carelessly dismissed, qualities that resided solely in Lily Bloom. And she had betrayed them all. Second Bloom. The bell above the door to Lily's sweet surprises chimed a cheerful melody that felt entirely out of sync with the knot of anxiety tightening in Daisy's stomach. The air inside, thick with the scent of vanilla and sugar, usually brought her comfort, but today it was cloying. Lily stood behind the counter, her back to Daisy, meticulously arranging cupcakes topped with miniature sugar roses. Taking a deep breath, Daisy approached. Lily? Lily stiffened but didn't turn around. We're closed for a private event, she said, her voice flat, devoid of the usual warmth. Daisy's heart sank. I know, but I need to talk to you. Lily finally turned. Her eyes, usually sparkling with mirth, were now cold and guarded. There's nothing to talk about, Daisy. You made your feelings perfectly clear. That's not true, Daisy pleaded, her voice cracking. I was wrong. Terribly, horribly wrong. Jealousy twisted me into someone I didn't recognize, and I said things I deeply regret. I am so sorry, Lily. The words tumbled out, raw and heartfelt. Can you ever forgive me? Lily stared at her, unblinking, for what felt like an eternity. Daisy braced herself for a complete dismissal, but then, a flicker of something, hurt, perhaps, but also hope, crossed Lily's face. It hurt, Daisy, Lily said softly, the anger momentarily gone. It really hurt. I thought we were better than that. We are, Daisy insisted. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to you. Please, just give me a chance. A small smile tugged at the corner of Lily's lips. All right, as she said, relenting. But you're helping me frost these cupcakes first. An hour later, surrounded by sugary chaos, a tentative truce had been established. As they piped pastel swirls onto the last of the cupcakes, Daisy broached the idea that had been swirling in her mind since her apology had been accepted. I was thinking, maybe we could do something together? Something positive, you know? To show everyone, and ourselves, that we're still. Lily and Daisy. Lily paused, considering. Like what? Remember that charity auction the community centre is hosting next month? Daisy asked. What if we donated something? A collaborative effort? Your baking, my designs. We could create something amazing and raise money for a good cause. Lily's eyes lit up. I love it. We could make a whole dessert table, themed around your illustrations. Fairy tale characters, maybe? I could do gingerbread castles and enchanted forest cupcakes. The ideas flowed, each one sparking another, the energy between them crackling with renewed creativity. The air, once heavy with tension, now vibrated with the joyful hum of collaboration. Daisy felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in weeks, a sense of purpose returning. The second bloom, she realized, could be even more vibrant than the first.